Hey everybody, welcome to Cooking with I. You know what, it is cold, it's wet, it's rainy outside, and just nasty. And in fact, I think in Richmond tomorrow it's going to be sleeting. So today I'm going to teach you how to make pho, specifically pho ga, which is a Vietnamese chicken noodle soup. It gets its unique flavor from all of the spices that are in it, star anise, cardamom, cloves, and it's Vietnamese comfort food. So, and it's actually very easy to make. So go ahead and buy your chicken right now because I'm going to teach you how to do this and you're going to love it. So healthy, so delicious. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is take care of the longest step, which is cooking your chicken and making the broth. Here I've got one whole chicken. Fill up a stock pot with water and just place your chicken inside. That simple. Chop up one whole onion into 4. You don't want to cut them any smaller than that because this is just to flavor the broth. You're going to need half a dozen or so carrots. Just chop off the ends, and you actually don't even have to peel these. Just cut them into some chunks. You don't want to cut them too small because then you'll end up fishing for them in the broth, but this is just big enough so you can easily get them out with your hands if you need to. We're going to take it out with a strainer. So you want one whole daikon. Daikon has a peppery taste to it, so this will give it some sweetness, but also a little bit of a kick as well. And you also need two bunches of scallions, and just the ends here, the roots. This will help flavor the broth as well. Just rinse it out because a lot of times you have dirt on the bottom. And a few cloves of garlic. So these are all the veggies that you need to flavor your broth. Next, for our spices, I have here a pho spice packet. You can get this at the Asian store. What you want to do is it really just says spices for pho or something similar to that. It's just all the spices that you would need to make pho taste good. You've got your star anise, your cardamom, your cinnamon, your cloves, and I also have extra cinnamon sticks here just to sweeten up the broth a little bit. So what we're going to do, heat up a pan, very high heat, dry pan, no oil, because you're going to, there you go. What you're going to do is you're going to wake up these flavors even more. So just toss this into a dry pan and let it brown a little bit. There you go. Keep moving it around, don't let it sit still and burn. You just want to char it just a slight bit to wake up the flavors. Oh, you can smell it right now. It smells, it's so fragrant. The cinnamon sticks, it's sweet, it's strong, it's bold. That's what pho is all about. Once you've got this going for a minute or so, go ahead and throw your veggies in here. Oh my goodness, look at that. It smells like a pho house already. I need to invite some of my neighbors to have them come over and help us eat all of this. It makes a lot of pho. Once you do this, you will see why it's so necessary. It smells so good right now. So you can imagine this going into the stock pot with the chicken after it's been simmering for at least an hour or so. It is ridiculous. This is so easy. We're almost halfway through, guys. Oh my gosh, guys. You need to smell how unreal this smells like right now. Once you do this yourself with the spices browning and the vegetables in there, a little sweet, a little bold, you'll understand the magic that this does to this chicken stock pot. It's unbelievable. And really, we're almost halfway through. Pho is very easy to make. You can see now the veggies are lightly toasted. So once you've had this going for a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, go ahead and toss this in your stock pot. Cover and let this simmer till the chicken is thoroughly cooked and the juices are fully extracted, about an hour or so. And that's it. Can I just tell you that the rest is just downhill from here? That was the hardest part. The next steps that we're going to be doing is just prepping for the pho. The rice noodles, the herbs, and the garnishes. That's it. That's pho. Next, we're just going to work on our garnishes. First, chop up some scallions, nice and thinly sliced. You know, believe it or not, it's funny, my mom's parents, my grandmother and grandfather in Saigon, this was how they made a living. They sold pho. You know, you always see those vendors on the sides of the streets in all these Asian countries, and Vietnam's definitely very well known for that. Well, they had their own little stand, and I don't think I'll ever be able to fill those shoes, but I can most certainly make a lot of people happy with a nice hot bowl of pho. Pho is really such a simple dish, and it's really the combination of the broth with the spices and the garnishes that make everything so spectacular. Not one thing is better than the other, but when you combine all these ingredients together, the noodles with the bean sprouts, the cilantro, the scallions, the chicken, the hoisin sauce, the hot sauce, the lime, it's just, that's what I love about Vietnamese food and a lot of Asian food. There's so many components and so many textures and flavors that it's hard to pinpoint one thing and say that this is what makes a dish perfect or wonderful. And that's the same thing with pho. And all right, so here's some cilantro. We're just gonna chop these thin as well. All of these things we're going to place on top of the pho, of our hot broth with the noodles, right before we're ready to eat it. It's really a tickling of your senses. It's really hard to describe it. Just the aromas, it's so fresh and so clean and yet bold at the same time. Okay, next we're going to take an onion. If you want to, you can slice this. We wanted to have some really, really paper thin slices of onions. So the best way that you can do that for me is I like to use a mandolin slicer because you can do it really, really fast and nice and even. It looks so professional. Okay, let's see. Look at that, beautiful. And this is always also going to go on top of our noodles. Set all of these items aside in a plate so you'll have access to it right before you're getting ready to plate. And some bean sprouts. And then a nice lime or two. There you go. Our family likes a lot of lime in their pho, so I'm just going to cut it in quarters. Finally, we have some sprigs of basil. I just like to lay this on top of the plate and let everybody determine how much basil they want in their bowl. But it smells delicious. So what a powerful combination. The basil with the cilantro, the scallions, the onions, the bean sprouts, and the lime. You're starting to see where this is going, aren't you? Heaven. There you go. There you go. Now look at that pot right there. You can tell the color's turned a little bit more brown, and that's from the combination of the chicken flavoring the broth and the vegetables and the spices. Carrots have risen to the top. Look at the chicken, it's just saying, eat me, eat me. I'm gonna keep it in there. It's already pretty much cooked and it's only been about half an hour, but we're gonna leave it in there and let it slow cook some more and simmer away. Let the heat tenderize the meat some more, so when we pull it off, pull apart the meat, it'll be a lot easier. Here I have one packet of the faux rice noodles. It's like the vermicelli noodles, same consistency. However, it's thicker and wider. So what I like to do is I like to soak this in a bowl or a pot of hot water. Don't bring it to a boil, don't even cook it. You just want to leave it in there in some hot water, and because I don't like my noodles to be too mushy when I'm eating my soup, I actually like it al dente, as you would call it in the Italian world. So take a packet of this and soak it in some hot water, and then right before you're ready to eat, we're going to drain that and put it in our bowl, and the hot broth will cook it the rest of the way. Our noodles have been sitting for about 15 minutes. Go ahead and drain it, and then wait until everything is ready. You can go ahead and pour the broth on top of these just as they are, and they'll cook for the rest of the way. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the chicken out. We're going to leave the vegetables in there, and we're going to let the chicken cool down quite a bit so we can pull it apart. The chicken is so tender, it's pretty much falling apart as I pull on this. There's our chicken. Look at that. It's so nice and still tender, even though it's been cooking for close to an hour. Just because it's like, it's pretty much sitting in a faux sauna there. So we're going to let it cool down. It's almost ready to be pulled apart. Okay, next we're going to work on flavoring our broth. I have here about 3/4 of a cup of fish sauce. Might seem like a lot, but remember this is a large pot, and when I make pho, I make it to at least have some for the following day or sometime later on the week. And also, this is my twist that I've added to pho, is hoisin sauce. A lot of places when you go to pho restaurants, they try to make the broth taste good by adding MSG, and you can tell right away you start to get headaches. A lot of people have different symptoms to MSG overload. I'm definitely one of them. I start getting headaches, pounding in my head, the back of my head, and so this is just something that I've added to my pho, and I really like it. A little bit of hoisin sauce to add a little bit more color, but also some sweetness and flavor to the broth. And then also a 1/4 cup of sugar. Remember, this is a large pot. It's at least a dozen servings. I usually invite a lot of people over when I make this. You always taste as you go. And also it tastes even better the following day and the day after that. Just slice it right down. Well, a lot of you will want to remove the skin, and I do too. It's just presentation-wise, it's much better. You've already gotten the benefits of the skin in the broth. No need to add all that extra fat and calories. Okay, I'm going to cut it straight down the breast. still steaming hot. So juicy. You're basically breaking up all the body parts. The drumsticks, the breasts, the thighs. And we'll separate the white meat from the dark meat. Okay, now save the breast for last. That's still pretty hot. I'll break it up some more. Oh. There you go. Chicken, dark meat, white meat pulled apart. Okay, all that's left to do now is to remove all of our spices and veggies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into another pot and have your strainer so that way it'll catch everything else. There you go. There we go. And since I'm only using either about a third or half of this right now, I'm gonna go ahead and let the veggies and the spices sit in the broth some more overnight. Again, remember the broth tastes even better, just like most stews, tastes even better the next day. So this is what I'm going to be using, the small pot is what I'm going to be using for our broth tonight. Okay, and go ahead and bring this small pot, the new pot, to a boil, and then we're going to go ahead and serve. Okay, you ready to play? We're going to first start off with our rice noodles, our pho noodles. They're just perfect. They're not too soft. Okay. And there's no set order. Next I'm going to add the onions, our nice thin slivers of onions. Our chicken, combination of white and dark. Some scallions, cilantro, or bean sprouts, some basil leaves. See what I'm talking about? So many levels and flavors, textures. Alright, so we got our noodles, our herbs, and I have here, you can use fresh jalapenos. I have here pickled jalapenos. It's tangy and spicy. Will go great with the sweet and also the bold flavors of pho. Okay. And next we're going to add the broth. And just pour it all over. There you go. And then finally, a little bit of hoisin. Some sriracha. Squeeze your lime. Okay, ready to give this a try. It's hot, be careful. Take a bite with everything in it. Ooh, yummy. Oh, that's so good. The broth is so sweet and the chicken can definitely hold its own. It's so tender. I really love the tanginess that goes with the sweet, the tangy jalapenos, the twist of lime, and the crunch of the herbs. You'll really like this. There's nothing not to like about this. So go give it a try. You saw how easy it was. And thanks for watching.